Hi folks, you're back again. You're still hanging on in there with me, are you, in this? That's good. Yeah, we're drawing this one out a bit, aren't we? But that's okay, because if there's things that we need to talk about, then we need to talk about them, don't we? Alright, so, well, here we have before us one of these two casseroles. This one here, as you can see, is still waiting for its knob, which I will put on very shortly. But what we're going to do now is we want to put it on a couple of lugs. So let's just concentrate here on that bit of workbench there. Okay, right, that'll do for now, I think, just like that. Good. Okay, so what we've got to do is, there's a couple of ways of doing this basically. You can take a lump of clay and you can pull your lugs first, all right, and then put them on your like just in the same way as you would handles, except they're a little bit more beefy, okay? And then you would leave them to dry off a little bit. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is, which is the way we're going to do, is we're going to take a lump of clay, this is more than we need by a long way, okay? And we're just going to what we're going to do is we're going to roll out a sausage, aren't we? The saucisson again. Alright, okay, so before we do that, what we're going to do is just dampen your area where you're going to be rolling it, alright? Dampen it. Alright? Never a bad idea just to dampen your hand as well. So rolling with the whole of your hand, so you get a nice round coil or sausage. Now you will find when you roll, sometimes it kind of goes oval, alright? If it has a tendency to go slightly oval, give it a bit more downward pressure when you're rolling. Okay, now you want to think about the casserole and you want to think about the lugs. You see, only half of that piece of clay I've got has already given us enough for 2 lugs here. What you want to aim for is a nice even thickness coil. Alright. Right, what I'm going to do is I've got my spray bottle here and I'm just going to dampen the outside of the casserole. That's what I would sort of, like a general dampening, alright? Just to keep it nice and moist. Okay, I'm going to cut off some of this. Okay, can you see that it's nicely rounded? Okay. Now, this is the moment where you just have to think a moment. Think about the size of the casserole. Think about how far the lugs are going to stick out. Well, I'm thinking, I'm just doing this now a little bit from experience, but I'm thinking that that is going to be yeah. Okay, all the other pieces that you don't need, just put together in one lump over there. Let me just move the camera slightly around so you can see. Na, 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 na. I know the lighting in here is not as good as I would. I'd like to have more light coming across this way. Just wondering if I can swing a light, borrow a light from over here. And, that's a bit better, isn't it? Could mount it here on the side of the water pot. Hey ho, we are in business. I don't want you to get that in the light though. Don't want it to get in your eye either. That's better though, isn't it? It's giving us a more of a, yeah, terrifico. Okie doke. So, why don't we measure those lugs as we've been measuring everything else under the sun? Let's measure the lugs. Well, these are 3 3/4 inches. Okay, right. So what we're actually going to do now is the next thing we're going to think about as we've got our lugs ready. Now look, if you've got lots of casseroles to do and lots of lugs to put on, when you've prepared your lugs, what you want to do is cover them in plastic, okay? Because they will dry out very quickly, and you don't want that to happen. Don't want that to happen at all. Okay, so okay, we're going to take one of these lugs. Okay, now the lug doesn't go on there like that, does it? Straight. It's a bit droopy. It's like a Frenchman with a moustache. Okay. So that's the sort of shape, and if you think about it, that's the shape that fits quite nicely for the fingers, isn't it? You see, we're thinking about the practical, aren't we? Also looks quite nice. You see? Think of the curve that you see there. See the curve, the profile there? Alright? See the lug? See? See, there's a relationship, isn't there? Alright, we're building a relationship between the shape. It feels right, doesn't it? It looks right. Well, it's not finished yet, of course. Okay, so we're going to just put that on there, and I'm just going to, using my fingernail, I'm going to just key that there. Okay, now you can use your fingernail for that. If you've got fingernails, you can use them for this kind of thing. They're useful. It's one of our great tools as potters, isn't it? Our nails. Alright, now make sure that that is still looking good. Now I'm going to need my sponge. Okay, I'm just going to just dampen that there over that area. Like that. Now, just giving it a sort of squeeze like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the Frenchman's moustache and we're going to put him. Then I want you to turn the banding wheel. Now do this on a banding wheel, okay? Because you're all the time going to need to be turning it like that. So you can see the placement of the lug in relation to the total height. Okay, that's important because it's where your hand is going to. It's not necessarily the best place to put them on the furthermost point, sticking out the furthest. They tend to get knocked. Just raise them up a touch above the point where it sticks out the most. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to you see what I've done? Just by pushing that in. Okay, having done that, we're going to just wet him and wet your hand, because what we're going to do is we're going to do this. It's a little bit the equivalent of like when you're pulling handles. After you, when you apply them to the see, when you squeeze them like that and do this, they can tend to starts to stick out. So you want to just. This is very touchy-feely, and you'll have to just do it, okay? And you'll discover what you like. Alright, so at the moment he's looking like that, okay? Of course he's not finished yet, is he? Okay. Now the ends here, this is what we've got to deal with now. These two ends. Alright, just round them off a bit. Like this. Like that on that end. Okay. Now, again, this is a bit like finishing off the handles when we're doing the endings. You want to have a dry thumb, or I should say a damp thumb, but dry it. Okay. Now what you're going to do is you're going to pull the. I sprayed this earlier, didn't I? I got a bit of water on here. It's not helping things. Okay. Now pull the casserole to the edge. Alright. The reason for that is because I've got to now finish this here, and when I push down, I don't want to hit on the banding wheel when I do this, the termination on each side of the lug. I don't want that to get in the way. That's why I said I'm bringing this to the edge, overhanging it slightly, which will allow my thumb to follow through. Okay, let's do it. Okay, we're going to take that corner, and we're going to push him downwards and smear him away. Watch. going to do this one on this side. Didn't do a good job of that one, I'm afraid. The thing to do is to get this so it goes away nice and clean. I confess I'm a little out of practice. I haven't done any casseroles for a while. But they... The thing about these, you know, when you're doing these terminations, they do want to look